Welcome to the Uncle Jim Effect podcast. I'm your host. My name is Dennis Deloach, and today is episode number 31. 31. Wow. The topic today is one that I hate to brag, but I'm extremely good at, and it's on procrastination. But what I've labeled that is to unleash your greatness now. Don't waste time. So, we're going to talk about that in depth. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me. Would you please take the time to subscribe to our podcast and to leave comments and likes and share with your family and friends? We're excited about this tsunami of hope that we're creating, and I can see it daily just getting a little bigger and a little bigger. And we're not going to quit until we're through. And we're not going to be through for a long time. So let's get started. So I want to start with a quote that probably most of you have heard. I love this quote when I heard it, and it's meant a lot to me, and it's really kind of helped cement with me to not delay. And it's an ancient Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. And so that's the type of attitude we're going to talk about that we need to incorporate every time we have a decision to make. It's not to put it off. So, first, let's talk about what procrastination is. And there's some elaborate definition. I want to read that and I want to talk about that. So, it says procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing tasks or actions that need to be accomplished, often despite knowing that such delay may lead to negative consequences. So, what does that mean? Even though we know how important it is to work out or to eat right or to have a budget or to save money or to be kind and to do all of those things we know have tremendous consequences, positive and negative, if we do that. But how many of you, and I've got both hands raised, have been guilty of wasting time, procrastinating, or putting off till tomorrow what you could do today? And so we're going to talk about that today because I think one of the greatest sources of regret at the end of life, or the greatest uh, feelings of regret or not accomplishing what we want, in some form or fashion, can be directly traced back to procrastination or putting off things. So we're going to talk about that because, generally speaking, overcoming procrastination is a simple process that we all know exactly how to eliminate from our life. But yet, most of us, and I'm talking to myself, most of us don't do that. And I'm sure you're guilty of that too. We're going to talk about that in a minute on what that best cutting edge technique is to guarantee eliminate procrastination 100%. So stay tuned for that cutting edge technique that we're going to discuss because I guarantee it works every time. So, why do we procrastinate? Let's discuss some of the reasons. Failure. I think it's easy for us to say, wow, I'm going to start this workout process. But if I do, I'm probably going to be sick. I'm going to be embarrassed that I can only walk instead of run. I'm going to not look good in the clothes that I'm out there working out, and my friends running miles. I can't even walk yards. It's a fear of failure. We need to eliminate that from our vocabulary. The fear of failure for us should not be uh, anything that we give credence to at any level at any time. Usually we get out of our comfort zone and so we procrastinate because it's usually something that we're not doing that we need to do, and we're not comfortable with that. It's so much easier to sleep in. It's so much easier to grab the donut and to do all of those things, or to keep doing at work what I'm already doing instead of going to school at night to get the degree, or to actually bring in a consultant or a coach to evaluate me as a leader. And on those circumstances, I find that I've got deficiencies, and that's getting out of my comfort zone and a fear of failure that I'm going to fail. So those are all real things, and we'll talk about that. A lot of us suffer from paralysis by analysis. How many of us, if we say, hey, I'm going to start working out, but before I do, I've got to go buy 2 of the best pair of shoes you can find. I need to have 7 workout outfits. I need to get the best whatever it is before I go do it, instead of, we'll talk about that secret weapon in a minute, but it overcomes that every time. How many of you have ever said, oh, I don't have time to work out. I'm too busy. I don't have time to take that class online. I don't have time to get that degree. I don't really have time to do anything and everything that you can fill in the blank on. That's a big form of procrastination. And it's just an excuse that we're going to overcome. Another one is a lot of times, and this might be one of the most common, is when we think about the overwhelming odds of, again, fill in the blank here, but we'll use that weight loss example because it's easy to apply it to everything else. If I'm going to lose 100 pounds, that is an overwhelming task. Instead of thinking, I just need to get up and today walk for a quarter mile and eat 1 less donut. If we think about that process and we focus on the marathon instead of the individual steps, it becomes overwhelming. So we just tend to put it off until tomorrow or never. So let's talk about, how do we overcome procrastination? Because we've all done it. And again, in the beginning, I bragged and said I am one of the best procrastinators of all time. I think I've made a lot of strides in that area, but over my life, I can look back on so many lost opportunities because I didn't have the courage or the fortitude or the discipline to do today what I needed to do today to benefit from success tomorrow. And we're going to talk about that. Dawson Truman had a great quote about this topic. It says, the greatest amount of wasted time is the time we take to get started. So how many hours and weeks and months of time have we thought about starting a workout program? If I could have applied my thought process to working out, I would probably be an Olympic champion marathon runner. So a lot of us spend all this time thinking about what to do and preparing. And so I'm going to share with you now this cutting edge technique that I guarantee you works every time to eliminate procrastination from your life. So if you don't have a pen and paper, please get it out. This is cutting edge stuff. I'm hoping that this does not go viral and does not break the internet. But the cutting edge technique, are you ready? Do you have your pen and paper? It is to start now. Let me give you some time to write that down. Start now. And it's amazing that the best way to get something accomplished is to simply start. And, I say that jokingly, but procrastination is one of the few bad things in life that can be eliminated instantly, because all we need to do to overcome procrastination is to start. I didn't say to start perfectly, to have a written, typed up 4-page plan on exactly what to do, to have everything you need. It's to start. So if in your mind you're saying, I need to start this process, the instant thought should be, I'm just going to go right now. I'm going to go and I'm going to go start that. I'm going to go walk a block. And so, or I need to take this course. I need to get better in this area. Bam. Don't order a book to do it. You can do that after you finish starting now. So if you need to do that, get online, find an article, read it, take some notes on what you need to do and learn that. That then becomes your starting process. So the best way to get something accomplished is to start. Just start, whatever it is, fill in the blank. It doesn't matter. So if you need to get to the doctor to get a checkup, to get some blood work, to see how your health is, get on the phone, call and make an appointment, put it in your phone and do it. Anything and everything you are procrastinating, take an effort to start that now without having to have elaborate plans to get that going. Another thing, how we can overcome procrastination is to focus on the process, not the goal. We talked about that a little bit ago. If I'm actually wanting to lose 100 pounds, I can't think about that because I might get on the scale tomorrow and I've lost one, or maybe I've gained a pound, and that's okay. But I have to focus on the process, and the process to lose 100 pounds, as an example, is the process is tomorrow. I'll start over. The process is today. When I get up, I'm going to do a walk for a mile. I'm going to eat 200 less calories than I did. And I'm going to make sure I get a certain number of steps by the end of the day. And I'm going to take the 2 flights of stairs instead of the elevator. If we follow that process, at the end of the day, I can say, man, I was successful. I checked the boxes. Now, did I lose 100 pounds? Absolutely not. So at the end of the day, if I was focused on the goal, I would be dejected and depressed and said, I did all this stuff and didn't lose a pound. Focus on the process. Rome wasn't built in a day. The biggest buildings in the world are built one brick at a time. Uh, Also, there's a technique that can help with overcoming that, which is to time block, to take certain times in the day. So if you're going to get serious about the process, there needs to be time allocated and calendared and intentionally set to accomplish that goal. For example, if you're going to go back to school to get a degree, you need to allocate, for example, Monday, Wednesday, Friday nights from 6 to 8 to take the class and study. Or if I'm going to truly try and lose some weight, I need to allocate 6 in the morning to 6:30 to be able to go out and do my walk, to do my workout, to do whatever it is I need to do. And that's a big part of that. I'll tell you one of the big things too that you can do is anytime you're doing something, tune out the world, shut off your phone, quit being distracted from all these things that pop up. Except this podcast, leave that on. I'm kidding. So there's certain things you need to do that involve sitting down, time at a desk, thinking, studying, and learning. Shut the world off. There's no way in the world that you can keep looking at a phone, checking email, doing all those things, and then focus on doing something else. Another thing is that we've talked about this in the past, focus on um, discipline versus regret. We talked about that. There are two types of pain that we will eventually, ultimately suffer in this life when it comes to accomplishing what we want to do. One of those is the pain of regret at the end of life that says, gosh, I should have done that. I had all the opportunity, the skill set. I should have done that. And that lasts forever. Or the pain of discipline, which is every day for a minute or two, I suffer the pain of that alarm going off that I got to get up. But if I just fight through it and go and go and go, at the end of my life, I can say, wow, I actually did that. And I suffered that discipline pain every day for a minute. I don't have to suffer the pain or regret forever. I'm going to share with you some personal examples for me and how I procrastinated and how I overcame it by starting now. And I've shared these with you before. If you haven't seen the podcast, I'll share them again because they mean a lot to me. And the example was at one point I was about 120 pounds heavier than I am now. Not doing well, had several heart issues and had a cardiologist tell me that I was obese and was going to die. And that hit me. So you think there was some procrastination that led from being an elite physical shape as a college athlete to somehow now being 120 to 150 pounds overweight and the cardiologist telling you you're obese? Of course there was. And so basically, at some point, I literally just said, okay, enough's enough. And I literally went out and walked, and I walked probably a half a mile and came back and thought I felt a relief and a load off my chest, not because that was such a great accomplishment, but because I had not thought about it. I hadn't planned to do it tomorrow. I got up and just went out and said, this is it. I'm done. I can do this. I've played college athletics. I've become a professional, received a dental degree. I've done a lot of things. I can surely lose some weight, and I can at least go for a walk. I know that. And so it's simply get started. I didn't look at the shoes I had. I didn't have to run out and buy shoes first or do these things. Go simply get started. And that led me to eventually being able to complete the Moab Trail Half Marathon, which is one of the hardest ones in the country. I've done that 5 times, and I finish it each time. And it's very, very difficult. And yet I focused on the process. I talk about the story where I literally came in dead last in that race out of 1,000 people in the half marathon. And it meant more to me than the people that won that race. In fact, I have that medal that I got right there from that race that I keep, not because I'm excited and want to be a professional runner, but because I finished that race, and it was the ultimate of me getting my fat, obese, 150-pound overweight body out the door for that first walk. And now I'm within 15, 20 pounds of my playing weight, and I work out a lot, and my health is fantastic, knock on wood. And that's an example for me. This podcast, I've shared this story with you. I've always wanted to write a book. I've always wanted to do a podcast. And I was sitting there one day at a remote office I have, and I thought, I've got to make some plans to do that podcast. And I don't know why it just hit me, and I thought, that's a crock. I've been making these plans for years. I said, you got 15 minutes. I literally turned on my phone app timer. So you got 15 minutes, and I'm turning the camera on. And you can tell, you go back to that first podcast, and in that 15 minutes, I had a little tripod. I'd set the phone up. I wrote some notes down. I put those notes up. And before that timer went off, I started the podcast. And that's how this has come. And you know what? If you wait to get things perfect, it will never happen. And you get started, and it will perfect itself along the way. I am so grateful for the lessons I've learned in life, specifically in this area of procrastination, because it robs you of so much in life to wait till tomorrow. Because as we all know, you never get tomorrow. All we ever have is this moment. And all that ever matters to you is what you do now. And so as you focus on the process and not the goal, because see, the goal never comes until you have lots of processes that you do in the moment. And then all of a sudden, one of those moments in 6 months or a year, one of those moments you realize, wow, because I had the pain of discipline, because I started now, because I focused on the process, I get to enjoy one of those now moments of the weight is off. I got the degree. I learned that concept in business. I set the budget. Anything and everything that you can fill in the blank with literally starts by seizing this moment, which is all you have, doing now what you've been putting off forever, and then continuing to focus on the process. That process will lead you to success, albeit one step at a time. And I know for a fact it works, and anyone can do it, because I went from being the greatest procrastinator in the world to now literally talking to you about how to overcome that. Am I perfect at that? Absolutely not. I fight that battle every day. Every day I fight that battle. But you know what? I fight it. and I win more now than I used to. And isn't that the whole point in life? So I'm thankful for being able to spend this time with you and for you allowing me to share with you my stories and what I've learned. They say that for people that do podcasts or work with people, the best person you're talking to is the person you used to be. And so, any of you out there that procrastinate, any of you out there that have not had successes in life, that have failed, any of you out there that are overweight, any of you out there that have had financial issues, any of you out there that have put off anything, learn from me. I am by no means an expert, but I don't have to be an expert to share with you what I've learned. If we only listen to experts, nobody could talk. And so, only people that don't make mistakes, they don't know what they're really doing. I mean, they don't know how to overcome adversity like the rest of us have. So, thanks for your patience. Please share this with your family and friends, and go out today and start right now. As soon as you hit the off button on this podcast, whatever it is you've been putting off, take a step to do it. Not to plan to do it, but go do whatever that takes right now. Thank you so much, and enjoy your day.